When your blood pressure is 238, you're knocking on heaven's door, or perhaps hell, whichever one you want to pick. It is so astronomically high, you need to stop competing, you need to retire, you need to never do it ever again. Coach Greg, in today's video, the most viral topic in the fitness world in China right now, we got Mu Ray, bodybuilder, as well as his coach, Wei, and they're going toe-to-toe. And so this all started because his coach, the man who he had hired, who he put his faith in, the man who he trusted him to get him his all-time best physique, well, he decided to cut ties with him. You know, last minute, 6 weeks out. Now, who's going to do that? And so he went to social media and said, why would you leave me? I've been competing. I'm trying to do my best. And you just left the door. You left me hanging. And I look worse than I did last year. And so I'm analyzing his photo. And we see on the left, you can see he has a lot of muscle. He has amazingly massive arms, the biceps, the triceps, very detailed hamstrings. Little bit of a wider waist, not ideal, for example, for classic physique, but he can do that for open bodybuilding. And he does have a lot of potential, a lot of muscle. Now, on the right, he's lost it. I mean, this man should not be competing. If he competes looking like this, he's going to be extremely disappointed. He doesn't have the conditioning, and he has also, on top of that, lost the size. And so, this is what you need to know. The coach, in his defense, because remember, this guy is extremely popular, and if he says my coach sucks and abandoned me and left me hanging, the coach is going to lose a lot of clients, business, money. It's going to be very bad. And so he started posting videos in order to defend him. And one thing he did was, without permission, he showed his athlete, his client's steroid cycle, listing everything that he had formerly been taking. And why did he do that? Was he doing that just to be a dick, to make fun of him, to put him down? No. The coach was doing that because he said, look, I care about his health. And the amount of steroids that he was doing on that cycle, it was absolutely ridiculous. It would lead to excessively bad blood work. And he didn't want to be the coach that literally killed his client. Imagine if he had put him on the exact same cycle and that he had somehow died. And so perhaps this coach was scared. He said, there's no way that you're going to be using all those steroids. But remember, bodybuilders who are competing for IPB Pro cards, they don't care about their health. You might think that they do, might say that they do, but they do not. And why do I know that they do not? Because they're abusing steroids. Even if it's in moderate doses, do you really think that's healthy? Do you really think that's safe? Of course not. And so some cycles are more dangerous than others, but all of them are dangerous. But perhaps this coach, he said, nope, the buck stops here. But here's my problem. There's something known as patient-doctor relationship, privacy, confidentiality. Well, that also happens with coaching and bodybuilding. If I have an athlete, a client, and he's doing anything wrong, if he's telling me everything, whatever cycle he's doing, whatever drugs he's taking, that I'm sworn to secrecy. I'm not going to go and post on social media that this is what bro was taking. Here's his cycle. The Liver King, extremely famous. He was a fake natural. He pretended to be natural, that he said he never did any steroids, that all he did was eat liver and did the ancestral tenets. And people are like, there's no way. And eventually his former coach, he literally outed his cycle, showed that he was using over $10,000 a month of steroids, drugs, growth hormone, and so on, and that he wasn't natural after all. And so everyone was happy about this because they knew the Liver King was dying and somebody had outed him. But I wasn't happy at all because I know that if I was the coach, I wouldn't have said anything. But the coach said he had a moral obligation to show the world that he was a liar. But what about your moral obligation to not out your client, to reveal all of their secrets? And so I didn't like this. As much as I didn't like the Liver King lying, we already knew. We didn't need the proof. We could see it. And so by him revealing his cycle, I do believe that was wrong. And so Mu Ray claims that he didn't actually do that cycle. And so is it possible that the coach is lying about his cycle in order to make him look bad and to make the coach look good? Well, that is certainly possible. And so we don't know. There's two sides to every story. Now, This athlete, he's saying, the coach doesn't care about my health. Listen to what he made him do for Clen and T4. He said, look, for the entirety of his journey, you're going to be taking T4 as well as Clen. Now, many athletes, they take T4 throughout their journey. Oftentimes, especially when combined with tren and you're dieting hard, your body may need to actually do this. It depends on the doses. The coach may actually know what he's talking about. Now, one thing I don't agree with this coach is using the Clen for 3 months straight. Now, the athlete's saying it should be 2 weeks on, 1 week off. 2 weeks on, 1 week off. Give your body a break. The coach made him do it all of this time consecutively. Now, what I look at when I see his body is he's not lean enough. Is it possible that the athlete said to the coach, I want to win no matter what? And the coach is thinking, using T3, using T4, using Clen throughout the journey, well, this is not good, but he's desperate. A lot of coaches prescribe Clen consecutively throughout a diet. I personally am not a fan of 2 weeks on, 1 week off, nor am I a fan of using it for 3 months straight. If you can't lose fat at the start of your journey, at 3 or 4 months out, you're doing something wrong. If you need to use Clen 3 or 4 months before the competition, you're not ready. Many people think, oh, it's just a fat burner. It's nothing. It can actually kill you. It's very dangerous. Clen doesn't even burn as many calories as you think, perhaps about 150 a day. So if you use Clen or don't use Clen, the difference is about 150 calories. That's like walking a mile, maybe a mile and a half. And so rather than taking risks with your health, why not just walk a little bit longer sooner? Wait until the end, because what happens when you use Clen is your body gets used to it, and each and every week, oftentimes even sooner than that, you need to up the dose. You start at 10 micrograms, you can feel it, you're burning extra body fat. You then have to use 15, 20, 25, 30, 40, 50, 60. Problem is some people going up to 150, 200, 250, because the body's getting used to it. The longer you take it, the higher the doses. And so if you use it for 3 months, you're most likely going to be using 150 micrograms, perhaps even more, by the time you get to the competition. But if you start 5 or 6 weeks from the competition, you don't have to ramp the dosage as much, and so you might end at 60 micrograms instead of 150. And so much safer to use it for a brief period of time than to use it throughout. And why not 2 weeks on, 1 week off? Well, because what are you going to do in the week off? Hey, you're 4 months from the show, use it for 2 weeks, you lose a lot of weight. Well, I lost 7 pounds. Then you stop for a week. Do you know how shitty your life is going to be during that week? Clen also gives you energy. It makes you feel good. And so when you stop, you're sluggish, lethargic, you can't go to the gym, you're not burning as much fat, and so you might even be gaining weight at this point. And so why would you want that? And so please, don't use Clen, but if you are, the lowest dose that makes you happy, and use it for the shortest period of time possible. Next, patient, aka client, he should be a patient because he belongs in a hospital. This athlete's blood pressure was 238. That's deadly. When your blood pressure is 238, you're knocking on heaven's door, or perhaps hell, whichever one you want to pick. It is so astronomically high, you need to stop competing, you need to retire, you need to never do it ever again. 238 is ridiculous. If it had said 138, I'd be like, yeah, it's high, but it's common for bodybuilders to be that high. My blood pressure was 100 over 60. I just went to the doctor 3 days ago, and I just got over bronchitis. 120 over 80, that's what you want. When you start seeing a number 2, you're thinking, how is this patient alive? That is so bad. It would be like redlining your engine the entirety of your drive. You know, when you start revving your car higher and higher than last time, it can do more damage to the vehicle. Imagine it's at the perimeter. It's redlined consistently day after day. How long before your engine blows? It is so high, I can't explain it. If the coach didn't say immediately, you need to stop all steroids, you need to stop competing, this is done, it's a bad coach. Without any information whatsoever, knowing blood pressure over 200, you're going to die. I cannot even believe this. And so he's saying he had too much estrogen. He had too much of everything. This is ridiculous. If it was 180, it would still be ridiculous. I'm thinking, are they adding diastolic and systolic together? How is it this high? This is ridiculous. To worry about, oh, I need to take letrozole or anastrozole instead of exemestane, this is the low-hanging fruit. This is nothing. This is ridiculous. And so, yeah, exemestane is going to lower your estrogen. So are the rest. Letrozole, the strongest one by far. I wouldn't recommend you take it for a very long time. It reduces estrogen by 98%. You need some estrogen to build muscle. If your estrogen levels, your testosterone's converting to estrogen that much, the cycle is wrong. Everything is wrong. But you know what else is wrong? Your body and your genetics, because it's not normal. I could take this exact cycle that he's on and double it, and my blood pressure would not go over 200. Not even close. When I was on my max cycle, the worst one I'd ever had, my blood pressure got up to 145 over 85. And that was bad. 145! That's alarming. This is not good. 238, guys. Are you starting to understand just how bad this really is? And so, guys, you have to take your health into your own hands. If I had an athlete with blood pressure of 238, I immediately would say, you know, you're not competing and you're not doing steroids ever again, and you're going to go to the doctor and you're going to get your blood work and you're going to pray you live to be 50. And if the client said, no, I'm still competing, I want a pro card, look how big my arms are, coach, I would say, you're coaching yourself. I would quit. I would refuse to be the guy that coached this athlete in order to die. That's what he's doing. And so is it possible that this coach was thinking, I've done my best with this guy, I'm at my limits, I'm done, and walked away? And then this guy who's famous makes videos saying, well, my coach sucks. Well, perhaps the one thing that the coach did, perhaps he was sucky. Perhaps he sucked at everything, but he didn't suck so bad, but to continue to coach him with blood pressure 238. And so the coach says, I'm too busy. I'm going to find you a new coach. Look, you have to be open, honest, and transparent. He's perhaps saying, you know, I don't want to have a confrontational call with my client. Why not just be truthful? Look, your blood pressure sucks. The drugs are just fucked up on your body. I've never coached anyone who used these drugs and had this kind of reaction. I don't know what to do. Does that make you a bad coach for being honest? Hey, I don't know how to coach you. You're a unique specimen. I don't know what to do. I'm not a physician. I'm not a surgeon. I don't know what to do. And so I'm going to walk away. I'm going to find somebody to replace me because I don't want to be responsible for your death. I see nothing wrong with that. But be honest. Tell him the truth. And so to this bodybuilder, you're 37, wife and kids. It's not worth it. Bodybuilding, the pro card. If you haven't gotten a pro card by this time, it probably isn't meant to be. Like, is it really going to matter the pro cards that you have, the accolations, the fans, the trophies, the money, when you're no longer here to enjoy it? I'm certainly thinking a man's family and kids, wife, they don't care if you have a pro card. They just want you alive. And so you really need to rethink your priorities and understand there is life after bodybuilding. You don't need to keep competing. Now, obviously, there's pharmacology that can help. For example, talmosartan from Algorex. Remember, you can get your blood work done. Click the link in the description. You get all the medications, the Cialis and clomiphene, testosterone, HRT. You need to stop, retire, and get your health in order. Blood pressure at 238, it's not a game. 138 is bad enough, but 100 points higher, it makes absolutely no sense. And for the rest of you who aren't abusing performance-enhancing drugs, why not try Turk Builder Max? It's not going to screw up your blood pressure. It's not going to take years off of your life. Get Blue Lobster. Use the natural supplements like creatine, G-Test Platinum, GLP Max for reduced cravings, help you to stick to your diet. Don't forget code Greg, 15% off. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. Please like the video if you liked it. Don't forget to watch one of those two bloops. If you're interested in working for HGLT Supplements in terms of being a sponsored athlete or carrying your supplements in your stores and or gym, click the link and apply. And until next time, I am out.